and the challenges of natural or man-made disasters. The seed vault is the world's guarantee of crop diversity in the future. Whether any survivors of our civilization would be able to reach it is a question we will hopefully never have to answer. On the drive into town, it felt like we could slip into Lyra's Svalbard at any time. The mountain sides above the town are covered by the remains of aerial ropeways that once took coal from mines to the harbour. The mine entrances themselves, which are little more than large holes in the side of the mountain, and a handful of forbidding, abandoned factories rumoured to host raves. The grim wooden hostels were now bunk rooms for hikers, and the dingy bars they frequented looked as if they'd seen their fair share of fights. The supermarkets warned customers not to bring their guns into the store. I had my picture taken, quickly, by the sign with a polar bear inside a big red triangle on the edge of town. Underneath were the words, Gjelder hela Svalbard, meaning, applies to all of Svalbard. Down by the quayside, past where the scientists monitoring the melting permafrost park their half-tracks, is a small black wooden shack with a sizable wooden cutout of a polar bear looking straight at you. On the front are the words North Pole Expedition Museum. Right next to that label is a picture of a zeppelin. Airships had once flown over Svalbard. Entering the shack is like stepping into a fantasy world. With its faded cuttings, black and white pictures, typed notes, and shaky newsreel footage, the museum tells the story of the aeronauts who once upon a time explored the unknown lands of the North Pole by hot air balloon, airship, and primitive airplane. There is a section about Swedish hero Salomon August André, who decided he would try to fly from Svalbard to the North Pole in a balloon. On July 11, 1897, he and his 2 crewmen took off for the pole, floated over the horizon, and disappeared. It would be another 33 years before their skeletons were found. Another section of the museum is dedicated to the not-so-daring-do of journalist and all-round chancer Walter Wellman. He attempted 3 times, in 1906, 1907 and 1909, to fly to the North Pole in a sausage-like airship called the America. In 1909, the America managed to stay in the air for a couple of hours before it crashed. Despite this further setback, Wellman was determined to return the following year with a larger airship, but he never did. His dream of flying to the North Pole died when he heard of Dr. Frederick Cook's claim to have reached the pole on foot. Instead, the following year, he decided to fly across the Atlantic in the America, an endeavour that met with as much success as his polar flights. In truth, the exhibition is really about one man and one type of machine. Umberto Nobile and airships. Prodigy, dirigible engineer, aeronaut, Arctic explorer, member of the Fascist Party, opponent of Mussolini, maybe even Soviet spy, and always accompanied by his dog, Titina. Nobile twice flew jumbo jet-size airships, lighter-than-air craft that he designed and built, on the epic journey from Rome to Svalbard to explore the Arctic. The N-4 Italia was the second of these flying machines. In 1926, a dirigible he built and piloted, the Norge, became the first aircraft to cross the roof of the world from Norway to Alaska. It may even have been the first aircraft to reach the North Pole. His public falling out with his famous co-leader, Roald Amundsen, over who should take credit for the flight, made headlines across the United States. Headlines that were perhaps matched only by the news that when Nobile was invited to Washington, Titina, who had flown over the North Pole with him, had relieved herself on the carpet of the White House itself. In 1928, he ignored all the omens, and all his enemies, to return again to the North Pole in the Italia, but he never did become the first man to land at the pole from an airship. The crash of his vessel out there on the pack ice made front-page news around the world. The disappearance of many of his men was a mystery that has never been solved, with rumours of cannibalism never fully disproved. His treatment at the hands of Mussolini when he eventually returned to Rome was compared by his supporters to that of Alfred Dreyfus by the French.